The restaurant Sabores de Lisboa was known for being one of the most sophisticated in the city. Frequented by business people, artists, and even some celebrities, it was the kind of place where everything needed to be impeccable, from the service to the presentation of the dishes. Clara, a 24-year-old waitress, knew this better than anyone. Working there was not just a job, it was an opportunity she deeply valued. Despite loving what she did, Clara's routine was exhausting. She woke up early, took 2 buses to get to the restaurant, and spent most of the day on her feet serving customers with a smile on her face. By the time she finally got home late at night, her legs ached, but she always tried to console herself with the thought that she was building a better future for herself and for her mother, who depended on her financial help. That night, the restaurant was especially busy. It was Friday, which meant full tables demanding customers and little time to breathe. Clara ran back and forth, balancing trays and trying to keep her patience, while some customers complained about tiny details, like the temperature of the wine or delays with their orders. The clock read 8:30 p.m. when the restaurant's entrance bell rang. Normally, Clara wouldn't pay much attention, but at that moment, the entire dining area went silent. Everyone's eyes turned to the door, and Clara, curious, looked as well. That was when she saw something that made her freeze for an instant. Standing there at the entrance was Cristiano Ronaldo, the worldwide soccer star, known both for his skill on the field and his elegance off it, walked into the restaurant accompanied by a friend. Wearing casual clothes, yet with an unmistakable posture, Cristiano seemed to be trying to go unnoticed. Clara felt her heart race. She had already served a few famous people at the restaurant before, but no one like Cristiano Ronaldo. He was more than a celebrity, he was an icon. Her mind began to spin with thoughts. What if he's at one of my tables? What do I say? How will I stay calm? Enrique, the manager, quickly approached Clara. Clara, he'll be at table 14. I want you to handle it. Make everything perfect. Understood? Clara just nodded, swallowing her nervousness. She grabbed a menu and walked to the table where Cristiano and his friend were seated. Trying to appear confident, she approached with a professional smile. Good evening, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to have you here at Sabores de Lisboa. May I help you with the menu? Cristiano looked up and smiled. Good evening. Yes, please. What do you recommend? Clara swallowed hard, but managed to keep her smile. Our house specialty is codí with cream served with a light white wine. We also have a selection of appetizers that pair very well with the main dish. That sounds great. We'll have the house specialty and a bottle of water, please. Perfect. I'll be right back with your order. As she walked away from the table, Clara felt her legs nearly trembling. She knew she needed to maintain her professionalism, but it was hard not to feel intimidated. At the counter, other employees whispered about Cristiano's presence. Some even tried to discreetly take pictures, which irritated Clara. Don't you have anything better to do? She whispered as she handed the orders to the kitchen. However, the chaos in the restaurant wasn't just behind the scenes. One of the cooks was absent, and other staff were running late, making the environment more hectic than usual. Clara juggled other tables while trying to ensure that Cristiano's service was impeccable. When she finally brought their dishes to the table, she noticed something strange. Cristiano's friend looked pale, breathing with difficulty and visibly sweating. Clara placed the plates on the table and, in a concerned tone, asked, "Are you all right?" Cristiano looked at her, clearly worried. "He doesn't look well. Can you help us?" Without hesitation, Clara put the tray aside and moved closer to Cristiano's friend. "Maybe it's best to take him to the hospital. I'll call a taxi." Within minutes, Clara helped the man out of the restaurant, with Cristiano following her. Even with all the commotion around them, Clara remained calm, making sure he was comfortable until the taxi arrived. Cristiano was visibly grateful. "You were amazing. I don't know how to thank you." "Don't worry. I hope he's all right," Clara replied sincerely. Cristiano promised to return to settle the bill and accompanied his friend to the hospital. To Clara, it seemed like the situation ended there, but the worst was yet to come. When she went back to the dining area, she found Enrique, the manager, with his arms crossed and a furious expression. "Where were you?" he asked in a tone that sent a chill down Clara's spine. Cristiano's friend was feeling sick. I helped him outside and called a taxi. You left your tables for that. Do you know how many customers were kept waiting? Henrique, he needed help. I couldn't ignore that. It doesn't matter who it was. You put the restaurant's reputation at risk. This is unacceptable. You're fired. Clara felt the ground disappear beneath her feet. Henrique, please, I was just trying to do the right thing. Spare me your excuses. Go get your things and leave. With tears in her eyes, Clara left the restaurant without looking back. That night, Clara arrived home feeling an overwhelming emptiness. The streets of Lisbon seemed darker than usual, and the silence of the small apartment she shared with her mother only amplified her sadness. Sitting on the couch, holding the apron she had just taken off for the last time, she couldn't hold back her tears. I did what was right, she thought. Why did this have to happen? The job at the restaurant was more than just work for Clara. It was the household's livelihood and a way to ensure her mother, who faced health problems, could be comfortable. Now, without that income, everything seemed to collapse. Her mother, Donna Maria, appeared in the living room holding a cup of tea. Clara, dear, what happened? You came home so upset. Clara hesitated. She didn't want to worry her mother, but she also couldn't hide the truth. I was fired, Mom. Donna Maria remained silent for a moment before sitting next to her daughter. Why? You've always been one of the best at what you do. Clara explained everything. Cristiano Ronaldo's arrival, his friend feeling sick, her decision to help, and finally, Henrique's disproportionate reaction. When she finished, Donna Maria took her daughter's hand. You did what any good-hearted person would do. I'm proud of you, my girl. Don't worry, we'll figure something out. Although her mother's words were comforting, Clara knew the family's financial situation was delicate. She spent the night trying to think of solutions. She looked for job openings online, updated her resume, and sent messages to acquaintances, but there were no immediate responses. The next morning, Clara was awakened by a knock at the door. Still in her pajamas, she went to answer, imagining it might be the mail carrier or perhaps a neighbor. But when she opened the door, she was left completely speechless. Standing there in front of her was Cristiano Ronaldo. He wore a simple white shirt and jeans, holding a bouquet of flowers in one hand and a small envelope in the other. His expression was friendly, but there was a determination in his eyes that Clara couldn't quite figure out. Good morning, Clara. I'm sorry to show up like this, but I needed to talk to you. Clara blinked, still trying to understand what was happening. Mr. Ronaldo, please, come in. She stepped aside, and Cristiano entered the small apartment. The contrast between the international star and the modest home was striking, but he seemed perfectly at ease. I found out what happened at the restaurant yesterday. My friend told me everything, and after we left the hospital, I looked into it further. I was shocked to discover you were fired. Clara lowered her head, feeling a mix of shame and sadness. I just wanted to help. I didn't expect it would cost me my job. Cristiano put the bouquet on the table and handed Clara the envelope. I want you to know that your attitude was admirable. Not many people would have done what you did. This is just a small token of my appreciation for what you did for me and my friend. Clara opened the envelope with trembling hands. Inside was a check. When she saw the amount, her eyes widened. It was a generous sum, enough to cover her expenses for several months. I can't accept this, Mr. Ronaldo. Please call me Cristiano, and yes, you can accept it. I know this doesn't erase what happened, but I want you to know that there are people who recognize the value of your actions. Clara was about to thank him, but Cristiano interrupted. And there's one more thing. I'm opening a new restaurant here in Lisbon, and I need someone like you on the team. Someone who not only knows how to serve well, but who also has character. I'd like you to be the manager. Clara was astonished. Me? Manager? Yes. Yesterday I saw how you handled a difficult situation. You kept calm, made quick decisions, and showed you care about people. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Clara felt her eyes fill with tears. It was hard to believe that after everything that had happened, such a big opportunity was being offered to her. I don't even know what to say. Thank you. Thank you so much, Cristiano. He smiled, standing up from his chair. You deserve it, Clara. And don't worry, my team will get in touch to sort out the details. For now, rest and enjoy your day." Cristiano said goodbye, leaving Clara in a state of complete wonder. After he left, she looked at the check and at the bouquet on the table. It was as if a huge weight had been lifted off her shoulders. Donna Maria, who had been in the bedroom, came into the living room, curious. "Who was it, Clara?" Clara smiled, still in shock. "It was Cristiano Ronaldo. He offered me a job as a manager in a new restaurant." Her mother embraced her, thrilled. "I told you things would work out, didn't I?" Clara laughed, tears in her eyes. "I guess you were right, Mom." In the days that followed, Clara's life began to change in ways she had never imagined. Shortly after Cristiano Ronaldo's visit, she received a call from one of his representatives, confirming the details of her new job. The restaurant, still in its final stages of construction, promised to be one of the most sophisticated in Lisbon. Besides the position of manager, Clara would be trained by a specialized team to take on the establishment's leadership. While she waited to begin her new responsibilities, Clara had time to reflect on what had happened. The indignation she felt at being fired from her old job gave way to a sense of gratitude. If she hadn't gone through that situation, she might never have crossed paths with Cristiano Ronaldo. A week later, Clara was invited to visit the site of the new restaurant. When she arrived, she was impressed by the structure. The space was modern, with large windows that let natural light illuminate every corner. The furniture, still being assembled, showed care for every detail. "Clara," called a familiar voice. She turned and saw Cristiano Ronaldo walking toward her. He was accompanied by a man in a suit, whom Clara quickly realized was the architect in charge of the project. "Welcome to the future Ronaldo's table. What do you think?" he asked, gesturing toward the main dining area. Clara smiled, still taking it all in. "It's amazing. I've never seen anything like it." "I'm glad you like it. I want you to feel part of this, Clara. This place won't just be a restaurant. It'll be an experience. And you will be one of the most important pieces of this project." They spent the next hour walking through the space, while Cristiano explained his vision for the restaurant. He wanted a place that combined gastronomic excellence with humane service, something Clara had demonstrated she understood so well on that fateful night. By the end of the day, Clara felt not only excited, but also valued. It was the first time someone trusted her so completely. When the restaurant finally opened its doors a few weeks later, Clara was already fully integrated with the team. As manager, she was responsible for overseeing the service, ensuring quality, and training the staff. But more than that, Clara became the soul of the restaurant. Cristiano, despite his busy schedule, made a point of visiting the place regularly. Whenever he showed up, he greeted Clara with a warm smile and asked how things were going. One night, during a special event, Cristiano asked to speak to the assembled kitchen staff. He thanked everyone for their hard work, and then did something Clara would never forget. "Before all this began, there was someone who showed me the true meaning of humanity and professionalism. If it weren't for her, this restaurant might not even exist. Clara, you are the reason we're all here today. Thank you for everything." The speech was met with hearty applause, and Clara, moved, tried to hide the tears that insisted on falling. Gradually, Ronaldo's table became one of the most sought-after places in Lisbon. Clara not only thrived in her new position, but she also began to receive public recognition. Local magazines wrote articles about her story, mentioning how she was discovered by Cristiano Ronaldo and how her leadership made a difference at the restaurant. No matter how intense her routine was, Clara always found time to visit her mother and make sure she was comfortable. Donna Maria, in turn, did not hide how proud she was of her daughter. One night, after the restaurant closed, Clara was finishing reviewing some reports in the office when she heard a knock on the door. It was Cristiano. "Clara, do you have a minute?" "Of course, always." He entered the office and sat in the chair across from her. For a moment he stayed silent, as if choosing the right words. "I wanted to tell you something I might never have said to you directly. Clara, you inspired me." She frowned, surprised. "Me? How so?" "That night at the restaurant, when you helped my friend, made me realize something. No matter how successful someone is, what truly matters is the people who choose to do the right thing, even when it comes at a high cost. You reminded me of that, and I'm grateful." Clara didn't know how to respond. Cristiano's words were more valuable than any public recognition or award she could have received. "Thank you, Cristiano. But honestly, you gave me a chance that changed my life. I think we make a good team." He smiled, agreeing. "Yes, we do." The following months brought even more success to the restaurant, and Clara found herself living a life she never thought possible. Her story, marked by highs and lows, proved that small acts of kindness can open unexpected doors. As the months went by, Ronaldo's table became firmly established as one of the best restaurants in Lisbon. Clara's schedule was always full, but each moment there was a source of pride. She would look out at the bustling dining area and feel a warmth in her chest. It wasn't just a restaurant, it was living proof that even in the worst moments, incredible things can happen. Clara's story became known not just to the restaurant's patrons, but also to the media. Journalists were interested in the fairy tale of the waitress who became a manager thanks to Cristiano Ronaldo. Although Clara was modest in her interviews, she always emphasized that her true motivation was her mother, Donna Maria, and the desire to give back for everything she had done for the family. A special night was about to take place. The restaurant was celebrating its first anniversary, and Cristiano had planned a benefit event. Part of the proceeds would go to organizations that support at-risk youth, something he and Clara agreed was a noble cause. When the night arrived, the restaurant was dazzling. Soft lights illuminated the space, and a band played live music. Clara, wearing an elegant dress, walked around greeting guests, many of them influential figures in Lisbon. She was nervous but at the same time confident. Cristiano arrived shortly after, impeccably dressed in a black suit. He approached Clara and, as always, greeted her with a warm smile. "Ready for another unforgettable night?" he asked. "Always," Clara responded, her eyes shining. During the event, Cristiano gave an emotional speech about the meaning behind this project. He talked about how the restaurant was born from a night that began badly, but ended up being a turning point for everyone involved. "And I'd like to take this moment to thank Clara, not just for her dedication and leadership, but for reminding me that small actions can have a big impact. Without her, none of this would be possible." The room gave a standing ovation, and Clara, visibly moved, felt tears rolling down her cheeks. It was more than she could have ever imagined for herself. After the event, while the dining area was emptying, Clara and Cristiano stayed behind, looking at the place. The silence was comfortable, almost like a reminder of everything they had achieved. "Clara, have you ever thought about what you want for the future?" Cristiano asked, breaking the silence. She smiled, looking around. "To be honest, I think I'm right where I'm supposed to be." He nodded, satisfied. "And you are." They both laughed, sharing a look of camaraderie. They were no longer just boss and employee, but partners in something bigger, something with the power to inspire others. That night marked the beginning of a new chapter for Clara, not only as the manager of a successful restaurant, but as someone who had finally found her purpose. Her story was proof that genuine acts of kindness can transform lives, and that sometimes life rewards that kindness in unexpected ways. Cristiano, as he said goodbye that night, left Clara with a sentence she would never forget. "Never underestimate the power of being who you are. That, Clara, is what changes the world." And in that moment, Clara knew her world had changed forever.